totally shocked at the statements that Sean Strickland made about, what's his name? Andrew Tate, now one of the most famous people on the planet. Coming from the broken home, the shitty fatherhood, the abusive background that Sean Strickland came from, like not having any nurturing, intellect, care, loving, and developing this profound, like almost genius level of honesty, where he is the first person to publicly, I mean, other than a few influencers who have called Andrew Tate out, like really intelligent, intellectual folks. Sean Strickland, I don't know what type of nootropics he's taking or what, but he sees through the bullshit, and he did a total critical analysis about how this guy is sociopic, uncaring, has no empathy, no emotion. I mean, basically this dumb fighter is speaking like a scholarly psychiatrist without knowing the technical terms. He's reaching the highest levels of human thought, which is profound and a little bit crazy if you think about it. Because I don't want to say he's obviously uneducated. He seems like one of the smartest freaking people in the world at this point. But I don't think he has a psychiatry or psychology degree. I don't think he understands behavioral disorders. And the cultural pandemic of us suffering from them, or perhaps he's one of the few people who do, because he really called out Andrew Tate so hard. Such a brave thing to do, and such a perceptive, centered, gregarious, not coming from a place of trying to climb, rather coming from a place of just trying to put truth to a community. I'm just going off the top of the head here, hoping that some sense comes out. But what he said about young kids just not having any sort of moral compass and then gravitating toward this type of, really toxic type of mindset, and calling out Tate for everything he is. Man, forgive me for saying Sean Strickland is uneducated. I mean, I took a few classes at Harvard, but I never graduated. At this point, he sounds like he's a freaking doctorate. He sounds like he's a PhD. Because dude is just the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit of freaking truth here. I mean, Nick Diaz wore that hat for a while. He was just calling out journalists, people in the world for what it was. But Sean Strickland on Andrew Tate, man, that is the greatest example I have ever seen, perhaps, of a phrase that refers to a book I read in childhood called The Emperor Has No Clothes. And it was a children's book. And it was basically about a king who walked around naked. Nobody talked about it because he was the king. It's kind of like the job I work tonight, when I can't wait to quit. So smash that like and subscribe button, because man, groupthink is dangerous. Downright spiritual dangerous, I'm telling you. Not good when too many people think the same way. Then you get casino, $30 million you don't want to pay. We shut down your MGM, 4 months. Now you pay 10 times as much. I'm just joking. Oh my God. That was a joke, that was a character, okay? That notwithstanding, Sean Strickland is so far beyond the groupthink and has impressed me so much with his statements. And the fact that Israel didn't knock him out, he was able to pressure Israel and counter him continuously. And Eugene, who's so brilliant in the corner, was just so busy polishing Izzy's toenails that he couldn't even break out of it. And Izzy couldn't break out of it and be like, listen, stop. All he's doing is countering you. Don't let the mental trick fool you. Don't be a deer in the headlights. I mean, a year ago, last time, hopefully it's the last time I sparred a guy who was on Friday Night Fights. He gave me a mouse under my eye. I never had a mouse before. Messed up my lower lip, and I thanked him so much for it. It was the first time in boxing I really felt like I was fighting a ninja. I didn't know because I thought the size and strength meant so much, but I couldn't even hit this guy. Total ninja. So, and he countered me. The times he did hit me, right as I put boom, right over the top, which is what Strickland did to Izzy. So, yeah, if you get countered by somebody, if you're getting hit by a counter puncher, you don't feel like you could throw a freaking punch, because every punch you throw, he throws right after you. You don't land, but he does. I mean, it's just a natural human reaction. You put your finger into something that bites it really hard. It's really painful. You don't want to put your finger into that again. And Izzy fell for that trick where his corner should have told him, feint, pull out, and throw to the body, then kick his leg. He's just tricking you, man. I mean, I've had that exact same thing happen to me against pro fighters. It's part of that whole deer in the headlights thing that you've got to have an experienced fighter yelling at you, or your dad just being like, it's just a slap, just mentally don't, you know. And even if it's not a slap, even if you're getting a hematoma or a fat lip, like, it's not affecting your consciousness or your balance. You've got to use feints. You got to pull out, or you got to put pressure back. You got to learn how to fight effectively on the back foot. That type of pressure fighter, man. One of my coaches, who was a UFC fighter, he had one of the best kickboxing records ever. James McSweeney had some like 80 knockouts in kickboxing. Made his whole career just pressure going forward. He told me that, and it's like, you know, that constant pressure coming forward thing is so hard to deal with. You know, and I ask fighters who've had hundreds of amateur fights, many pro fights, like, what's the toughest style to deal with? And it's countering and forward pressure. Like, boxer puncher is not that difficult because you guys are just playing chess. Constant pressure, countering every single one of your shots, like the last guy I sparred, like Strickland did against Izzy, extremely difficult to deal with. Extremely mentally difficult to deal with. All of a sudden you've got somebody on your back bumper. It's that type of feeling. You're going, you know, like you're getting tailgated. Like, get out of my space. It's that constant pressure, but really, you're safe. You're fine. It's psychologically, you've got to learn how to deal with it, because physically it's not going to change. They're counting on that psychological pressure the same way Conor McGregor is looking to counter you and looking to say, your mother wears combat boots, and looking to get you to come in, and then, like, he knows you will, because face it, your mom does wear combat boots. I'm sorry. I hope they don't ban the channel for that, or limit it. Man, I was getting 50, 100,000 views a night, and then I stupidly posted videos and then unposted them. You can't do that. It will make the algorithm. They sent me a letter. They're like, you've made the algorithm angry. I've got to actually make some videos on how to get some fame, get some publicity, because I want success for you, not only in Ukrainian boxing, but I want success for you also in user-generated content and self-publishing. So, that having been said, weird, I'm sitting down. You can't really throw a hard punch sitting down. I never realized that. I guess you need the, let me try. I'll try throwing a real hard one, because I guess you need the leg snap. Let me see if I can throw a nice hard knockout punch while sitting down. It's a part that a world champion told me, because we were working on right hands, and long right hands, like leaning over right hands, like Keith Thurman. Not like Terrence Crawford, standing up straight like karate, like some fighters work on making their spine go from here to here as they lean forward. We were working on that, like long Brock Lesnar right hand, like as long as you can get. One thing he was telling me is like you're fainting with your face. Don't do that. That's crazy. So it's one thing we train in boxing, not just to look right where you're punching and not to blink, but also not to telegraph with the face, to relax all 57 muscles of the face. So let's see if I can throw a hard punch finally. All that back of this chair a little bit. Not really. Weird. I can only throw like 20-30%, even if it's an arm punch, even if I'm not using core musculature. The arm punches are quicker anyways, but I'll try just throwing a quick arm punch. Nah, I can't even throw full power, like 20-30%. That's nuts. I can't do the whoosh. Never knew that. So there you go. Even with external power, you're limited by sitting. Very interesting. So, Sean Strickland, big up to you, brother. You have to be the most honest freaking person ever. And you mind fucked the style. You style bended the style bender. Man, that guy didn't bend any type of style. He was a boxer puncher and one of the best in the world. And I was honored to interview him. Let me tell you, I gotta post this old interview I have of Israel Adesanya. One of the few, like I have with Gino Carano, like 2 interviews out of hundreds with hundreds of fighters where the sound just dumped. I mistakenly, somehow the sound crapped on the device, or I fucked up, messed up somehow. Sorry, I don't really swear in real life. And yeah, so the sound dumped, but you still have me standing next to Israel Adesanya, and this was like 12 years ago, just as he was entering MMA, or like a long time ago, maybe 6 years ago, I don't know how long ago, but I had studied him through kickboxing. So I knew who he was and the whole broken native thing, and it's like, he was nice enough to give me an interview. So I big up to Israel Adesanya, first of all, because there's a lot of people out there who won't give you an interview. And there's cool people like Bas Rutten and Daniel Cormier who are world champions, who if they see you with a camera and you ask them nice enough, they'll be like, sure. And Izzy's one of those folks. But last style bender, no. Dynamic, he didn't have to be. He was bending people's, he was using his own style. He never had to bend his style. Sean Strickland turned into a pressure fighter and bent his style, which is brilliant. And beat him on the feet, which nobody thought. 99.9 out of 100 people, including myself, were like, oh, Izzy is going to ground kick him in the head, make an example out of this slow fool, give him some brain damage, like Sean said, like Mr. Strickland said. Sensei Strickland. He's going to be a friggin' cult leader like Fabio next, like the guy who trained Diego Sanchez. I'm just joking. Yeah, so everyone just thought the same was going to happen. Stylebender was going to come in there with like a long, stiff right hand. I mean, if you've ever seen Izzy fight in person like I have, he's just a kickboxing master, and his coaches have the same tricks lined up for years for him. And they're just like, fake the right hand, throw the inside leg kick, throw the inside leg kick, fake the right hand, and everyone falls for this stuff. And it's extremely high-level kickboxing, which is why Adesanya was like such a great world-class kickboxing champion and MMA champion. And Sean Strickland figured out the weak link stylistically, like just this genius move. Did we talk about The Emperor Has No Clothes? Oh yeah. So here's what the book is. Emperor's naked. And finally, somebody's like, you know, he marches around in parades and like, he's the best king. Of course, we love him, we love him, we love him. Finally, toward the end of the book, somebody's like, hey, the emperor has no clothes. Everyone looks at each other. What? The emperor has no clothes. He's naked, oh my God. And it is a brilliant children's book that we all need to reread, that elucidates the paradigm, parable, and principle and philosophy that groupthink is poisonous. And this is why people like Andrew Tate, like Joe Rogan, like Sean Strickland now are so brilliant, because they cut through. You know, they're not the greatest intellectuals in the world, but they cut through that groupthink which is so brilliant. Sorry, I'm addicted to practicing martial arts. I have to do it even while I speak sometimes. It's not an unconscious move. I'm actually just trying to get my reps in. I'm trying to get 500 of these in before I move on to the next one. That notwithstanding, big up to Sean Strickland. I'm trying to whisper here because I just got back from work. It's like 4 in the morning. I don't want to wake the neighbors, but should have put the earpiece in. Yeah. Dude is blowing my mind, not just with his technical destruction of Adesanya. And I studied Adesanya closely, how he destroyed Pereira, like, because when I'm not getting my head beaten in sparring, a few times I'm lucky enough to dominate. Like, you look and feel like Adesanya, or like, what's his name? Name is escaping me now, which is funny. Anderson Silva, when you're just technically mastering so much that you can literally just put your hands down and bam, 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 bam. Anyways, yeah. Sean Strickland, the funniest interviews ever, the most cutting, witty, smart, like perceptive, real Nick Diaz type comments that everyone's afraid to make. The Emperor has no clothes, just telling reality for what it is. So big up to Strickland, man. It's his day, and he used this platform to just say the coolest, most intelligent things I've heard from any human being, pretty much in years. Pretty much since Nick Diaz was popular and getting interviewed and just telling it like it is. So can't wait to hear more. Can't wait to hear more of what this guy's thoughts are, because it's just totally brilliant. And the way he tore apart Andrew Tate, and young kids without a strong moral compass who were impressed by this type of kind of, using other people and stuff like that. Brilliant. Literally a truly brilliant human being, whether you understand that or not. That's what this guy is. Talk about thought leader. Thought leader is a very common overused term. Looks like just about the only thought leader on earth at the moment, because he's just, looks a lot better than the Dalai Lama right now. That would be a good match. Strickland versus Dalai Lama. No tongue grabbing. That'd be one of the unified rules. Big headbutt? No. No. Point of Dalai Lama. Elbow? Okay. Downward elbow? Okay. Headbutt? No. Weird stuff with the tongue? No. Dalai Lama. Sean Strickland. Boom, boom, boom. Dalai Lama throws a spinning back kick to the liver, drops Strickland. Man, weirder things have happened, like Strickland beating Izzy. What type of dimension is this? Ironic, I tell you. Countries which have been poor getting rich, countries which have been rich and getting poor. You gotta change our karma. Figure out why this all happening. Gosh knows they ain't issuing no more pandemic checks, so you gotta do something. They say there's no dignity in being safecracker. It is like, once you slab one, you are a slabber. Same thing with safecracker. Once you crack one safe, you are a safecracker. Same thing with a knob slaughter. You slab one knob, you're a knob slaughter. Crack one safe, you're a safecracker. There's no fucking dignity in it, brother. Don't ask me how I know, though. Just sitting here making some user-generated content. Never robbed no type of banks. Never asked ChatGPT for a screenplay on how to rob banks. Never done it. It's not worth it. Those guys in pen, they'd respect me. They'd be like, man, he's a bank robber. But not if you're a safecracker. I'm telling you, do anything else. Be the wheelman. Be the gun guy. Just don't be the safecracker. And that's my 2 cents for the day. Israel Adesanya, you're an awesome human being. Don't be sad, brother. It's Sean's time. It's really Berryman's, the coach's fault. They were so busy polishing. I mean, everyone talks about Izzy's entrance and his dance, and they were so busy with the wins. And I see that happen so many times with championship fighters. Their coaches are like, he wins every time. There's very little I have to do. Let me get out my iPhone 34 Pro with cinema mode. I'll take a picture of Izzy as he's knocking his fool out. But that didn't happen in it. What happened is Sean Strickland is a bare knuckle boxing champ, which makes him harder than a coffin nail. My teeth are too good to pull. I'm just kidding. My freaking Brit's after me now. They'll try to fucking kill me. Oh my God. What is a poor boy to do? Playing a rock and roll band. Lululemon Birkenstock, she's playing pickleball. She don't take coke and she don't drink alcohol. She never took Adderall. And yes, call to action. Exercise for 1 hour a day. Drink a big bottle of water every day. Eat fruit and vegetables every day. And smash that like and subscribe button and that notification bell. And I will show you the real Kung Fu.